11th, 2024.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Thursday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Literally the calm after the storm right now.
Yes, thankfully we're not tracking anything in terms of severe weather for today, so those of you who are worried, some relief, at least after
especially for you guys as well.
After a very busy day yesterday. I'll do a quick recap of what we experienced yesterday across not only central New York, but all of upstate New York in general. So let's take a look at that right there. Yesterday's recap. How many tornado warnings were issued? Well, how about 42? 42. That's a very high number in New York State. Warnings were issued across the region. Again, as Gary mentioned, major flooding in Lewis County. There's even worse flooding heading up into Vermont. Northern Vermont, there is major flooding in a lot of rivers and creeks. And of course, as he mentioned, tornado damage reported in northern Oneida County. But for the most part, a lot of central New York was largely spared, and thankfully that was the case. In a setup like that yesterday, our hopes are always that we don't see widespread catastrophic damage, and thankfully that was the overall trend here locally. Downtown Utica, a quiet start. There is some patchy fog developing as some rain showers have produced some dense fog in some outlying locations, but you can see here a few spotty showers, still not over and done with. So the next 12 hours, of course, favor mostly cloudy skies, chance for a stray shower. But again, we're not tracking anything in terms of severe weather for today. So we're going to, again, do a quick recap of what we expected yesterday, or what we saw yesterday, and what we can expect heading into the next few days in that forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And as you mentioned, a radar-confirmed tornado touchdown in Forestport. The cleanup there underway, but viewers around the region captured the moments leading up to it. We do have some video from New Hartford taken by our own photojournalist Keith Hunt. Just as the storm was rolling in around 5:30 there, that was about 25 minutes before the storm hit up in Forestport. Heavy rains, of course, coming with this system, as well as frequent lightning. And our team of meteorologists were on non-stop whenever there was a tornado warning in effect on Wednesday. And that was the case last night, as that warning was declared for Oneida County and Herkimer County. Bill and Jill were on the air and confirmed through high-velocity radar that a tornado touched down in Forestport around 6 o'clock. And our own Luke Radel was then on his way to the scene to survey the damage.
Here in Forestport, you can smell the burning in the air. A tornado moved through, knocking over trees into power lines, as you can see behind me, blocking roads and preventing people from getting home.
We're there. The bar exploded with everybody's alarms to let us know there was bad weather in the area.
Leanne Bartoletti was out to dinner with her husband at a local restaurant until
We got a text from my mother-in-law that lives across the road from us that said they had 10 trees down and was wondering if we were home. So we paid our bill and was on our way home and haven't been able to get there yet.
There's trees on this side, right to probably this house where the white car was. It was the whole thing was just rotating.
the assistant fire chief describing the moment he saw the tornado touch down. Did you guys ever see anything like that before?
Not right in front of us, not the switch from. I drove through after tornado, I mean, right close by, but to have that go from no wind, zero rain, wasn't even sprinkling, to minute and a half, it was all of a sudden instant downpour, trees breaking across the parking lot, and the whole sky rotating around the firehouse with it.
The fire department responded to several downed trees on Kincaid Road, including this one leaning on a power line. You can see smoke billowing out concerning those nearby. But that wasn't even the worst of the damage. Up a couple miles on Horton Road, more large trees needed an all-hands-on-deck cleanup, with chainsaws and all. But that's just the view from ground level. These are drone photos posted on Facebook by the Forestport Fire Department, taken by Bernard Boris of the Stiffville Fire Department. It shows the path the tornado took through the woods, even landing in some backyards and dragging up trees by their roots. Reporting tonight in Forestport, Luke Radel, News Channel 2.
And many parts of upstate New York were under tornado warnings throughout the day yesterday. Maybe the hardest hit area, the town of Eden, south of Buffalo in Erie County. Erie County officials issued a state of emergency as there is plenty of damage to homes, trees, and power lines. There were 2 confirmed tornadoes in that area. 7 barns are considered a total loss. There are reports of injuries to animals as well. Fortunately, there have been no reports of human injuries. Now, in addition to property damage, officials say thousands are without power in Erie County. The state was hit with the remnants of former Hurricane Beryl, which is forecast to continue moving northeast. Now, no people were hurt by the tornado we saw locally up in Forestport, but we have learned 4 cows were struck and killed by lightning at a farm on Route 26 and Cooper Street in Vernon. Again, this is all the effects of Beryl. The upper Texas coast took the brunt of Hurricane Beryl when it made landfall Monday morning as a Category 1 hurricane. It landed near Matagorda, but winds of 80+ miles per hour were felt as far inland as the city of Houston. Much of the damage has been to rooftops, but the closer you get to where the center of Beryl came ashore, the destruction increases, particularly in Surfside Beach. It could be weeks before some see power restored. Other news now, the SUNY chancellor will visit our area.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good morning. Welcome back. The time now is 5:12, and we're getting you set to head out the door this morning on a Munson Commute Cast. And first off, a live look along I-90 with those entrance ramps right in Utica. And as you can see here, still some low-lying clouds. The fog that was near the surface has lifted a little bit, but there's still some locations seeing patchy fog early this morning. And a live look at our traffic tracker. No incidents to report in the Mohawk Valley, but a heads up if you are heading up into the Lowville region. Again, there is major flooding taking place. Gary will have more on that in just a second, but roads blocked, Route 12 and Route 26. So again, if you're heading up into the Lewis County region, again, these roads are blocked due to major flooding. And we'll, of course, provide the latest regarding how much rain fell across the region coming up in our full forecast. But again, today, temperatures starting out in the 60s with some patchy fog. We'll be drying up a little bit, but still a chance of a stray shower this afternoon. Thankfully, nothing is expected to turn severe. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And as you mentioned, it'll be quite the day ahead up in Lowville after more than 5 inches of rain fell in just about 5 hours on Wednesday, basically flooding out large sections of the village, including the football field behind Lowville Academy. Again, massive flooding throughout the entire village. Lowville is in a state of emergency. No unnecessary travel. The Walmart parking lot underwater. The Tops Plaza there under water as well. Homes are flooded. According to the Lowville Police Department, a temporary shelter has been set up at the Double Play Sports Center on Route 12. And of course, we'll be following up on this story throughout the day. The time now is 5:14.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. Weather is quieting down, thankfully, after a very busy day yesterday. And we want to start out first with the amount of rain that fell. We mentioned that was one of the primary risks. And taking a look at rainfall totals across the region, a lot of central New York was spared. Lowville in Lewis County, unfortunately, a different story where some spots saw from between 3.5 inches to as high as 5 inches. Even worse flooding is currently taking place up in Vermont, where there is some moderate to major flooding taking place in some area creeks and streams. So again, looking at the overall rainfall impact, we saw some locations 1.5, maybe 2 inches, 2.5 inches in Camden, 1.5 down in Springfield. But thankfully, again, we didn't see anything widespread in terms of major flooding concerns. Oneonta, a live look right now at the sunrise, a peak of sun in between a few clouds in the sky today. And that'll be our main weather story. We're still in what's left of the remnants of Beryl. But again, the severe risk is pretty much non-existent, in fact, entirely non-existent. The instability in the atmosphere is gone. We'll still see a few spotty showers and potentially an isolated downpours. You can see here on the radar just south of Boonville. But again, the worst of the impacts over and done with. As you can see, what's left of the rotation around Beryl is now exiting out to the east. So for today, we're talking about temperatures feeling a little bit more cool compared to yesterday, with highs only in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Still going to be humid. We're not seeing any relief in humidity, at least for today. And again, we're talking about spotty rain showers and clouds for today. Now that weather's quieting down, we can turn our focus to the Boilermaker, and we still have some good news. Both our long-range models still indicating a pattern supporting a dry start to Boilermaker, with one of our models indicating potentially some rain developing in the afternoon. But at least for us, at least for those of you who are running, the dry start is most important. And so in our Skycast, again, clouds, a few spotty showers across the region. By tonight, still looking at mostly cloudy skies. Clouds will linger for the start of tomorrow, but then sun will move in by Friday evening. And so for today, mostly cloudy, a few spotty showers, highs in the upper 70s to near 80. Tonight, a low of 65, mostly cloudy skies. 7-day forecast, weather cooperating for the most part for the next few days. Mainly dry weather heading into Saturday. Stray shower Saturday afternoon. Same for Sunday, but at least the morning for Boilermaker is looking pretty quiet. Gary?
And that is definitely good news for many folks. Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:20.
July 11th, 2024.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this July 11th. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
7-11 lucky, but 7-10 not so lucky for many folks all across upstate New York, not only in our area, but out in western New York as well.
Yes, several tornado warnings, lots of flooding issues, especially up in Lewis County at this point. A lot of central New York thankfully spared from the worst of it, but I want to do a quick recap of what we saw across the board yesterday. So you're probably thinking, how often does New York State see one tornado warning, or 2 or 3? How about 42? 42 issued tornado warnings in New York State just yesterday. This is probably one of the most active weather days in terms of tornado warnings in New York State history. Major flooding, of course, in Lewis County, and on top of that, tornado damage reported in northern Oneida County. We'll, of course, have videos on that coming up in our next half hour. But downtown Utica right now, we're still looking at cloudy skies to start, areas of patchy fog, and still some lingering rain showers moving through our region. The remnants of Beryl that caused the severe weather yesterday, it's still sticking around. But again, the severe weather risk is reduced to 0 today, with temperatures only climbing into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, with mainly cloudy skies and potential for a stray shower. So we'll, of course, talk about what we can expect for the rest of today, plus an early preview of the Boilermaker coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. President Biden will look to strengthen relations with final day of a summit in Washington today, while also fighting off calls for him to drop out of the race. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington this morning with more on the big day ahead.
The clock is ticking on President Biden's re-election bid.
It's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short.
So far, less than a dozen Democrats on Capitol Hill are publicly calling on the 81-year-old to step aside, citing fears he won't beat former President Trump. The majority are backing him.
I will tell you, when I'm telling my constituents at home, it was a very rough debate night. If you elect Donald Trump, it'll be 4 years of horrifically rough nights.
Others in the party say the focus should be on issues like protecting democracy.
Trump, who is unfit to be president, tried to overturn an election, which is disqualifying.
Former President Trump has said he believes Biden will stay in the race. Those on Trump's short list for vice president agree.
I think he's pretty dug in.
Major Democratic fundraiser and actor George Clooney is among a growing number of people urging the party to pick a new nominee. Writing in an op-ed, "We are not going to win in November with this president." Some Americans say they'll support the top of the ticket no matter what.
I'll back the Democratic nominee.
Period. Either way, because to save the country.
Today, President Biden is seeking to make his case to the country during his first solo press conference of the year. This afternoon, Senate Democrats will hear from senior Biden advisors and the Biden campaign during a special caucus lunch. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Welcome back and good morning, everyone. Today is looking, thankfully, much more quiet in terms of weather. But I want to showcase a very interesting photo submitted to us by Linda, a shelf cloud in Holland Patton, and her question was, is this a shelf cloud? The answer, yes. You can see the line of that low-lying cloud layer as that the storm rolls through. And some locations seeing views like this. These are skies you don't like to see. Obviously, some of you are interested in severe weather, but when it comes to days like yesterday, the concern goes more to, instead of typical thunderstorms, and more so with potential for damage and flooding. So again, great photo right here. If you would like to make a photo like this one, send it to the link right there on top of your screen, WKTV.com/weather/pics. Well, this morning, it's another warm start to the day. Temperatures in the low 70s, upper 60s across much of the region. 70 in Whitesboro, 72 degrees checking in Little Falls. Now, we mentioned weather's looking a little bit more quiet today, but we're not entirely quiet. A few spotty showers, but none expected to turn severe. We are tracking, of course, what we can expect heading into the rest of today and for the rest of the work week into the weekend in that forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Mother Nature's wrath yesterday wreaked havoc.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. Quite a busy day weather-wise yesterday, but thankfully today looking much more quiet. But I want to recap just how close of a call we were to seeing significant flooding concerns here in the Mohawk Valley. Most of those rain showers ended up falling in full force up in Lewis County. Between 3 and as high as 5 inches of rain fell over that area within the span of only a few hours. Even worse flooding taking place up in northern Vermont. But regardless, some locations already across the area saw between anywhere of 1.5 inches, some locations a bit less, about ½ an inch, but Woodgate with over 2 inches, over 2.5 inches out in Camden. And a live look at Oneonta right now. We have a fiery sunrise here today, some clearing of the clouds, and it will be a majority mostly cloudy and unsettled day today. But we're not tracking anything in terms of severe weather, just a few spotty showers in the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. This rain band is heading north up into Old Forge within the next few minutes. Broader picture, the remnants of Beryl still in our area. This is what's causing this unsettled weather here locally. But again, the forcing that caused severe weather yesterday is to our east, and we're only seeing remnant showers and clouds. Throughout the day today, temperatures feeling a lot more cool. We're looking at highs only in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. The only thing, though, is the humidity not really cooling down too much. We're talking about dew points in the upper 60s. But now that the weather is quieting down, we can talk a bit more about the Boilermaker coming into Sunday. And some good news regarding that. So far, the morning's looking pretty dry. Potential for an afternoon shower, but again, the model consensus has been pretty consistent with seeing dry weather for the morning. We'll, of course, keep you posted throughout the rest of the week into the weekend. Our Skycast today showing, again, clouds, spotty showers, a little unsettled for this afternoon and this evening, and then by tonight, mainly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, starting out with cloudy skies before some sunshine arrives by the evening. And so for today, high of 83 for lucky, but most locations will stay in the 70s. Mostly cloudy, spotty showers. Tonight, low 65, still with mostly cloudy conditions in your 7-day forecast. Mainly cloudy for tomorrow to start, sunshine in the evening, sun for Saturday, chance of a stray shower in the afternoon, same for Sunday, but both mornings look pretty dry, and I think the most important morning, obviously, is Boilermaker morning on Sunday.
Kids run Saturday too, so hopefully
true, yes.
both mornings will be pretty nice out for those folks. Eric, thanks. Well, we've got a couple of huge July weekends coming up here in September.
Now, the news with Gary Lipitor and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Lipitor.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
And boy, what a busy day for our weather department yesterday. You guys were on nonstop whenever there was a warning, and there were a lot of warnings across the state.
Yes, that was I wouldn't say surprising part, at least with yesterday's setup, but it's an unusual thing to happen in New York State with the amount of tornado warnings, flooding concerns. Very busy yesterday. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the recap of yesterday, because we're talking several warnings, and not 5, not 10, not 20, not 25, 42 issued tornado warnings in New York State. This is, again, not a very common occurrence in upstate New York, or in fact, just in New York State in general. On top of that, as Gary mentioned, and we'll be showing that in just a few moments, major flooding in Lewis County, tornado damage in northern Oneida County. Thankfully, a lot of this damage was isolated, which is, of course, not good news for those involved with those areas, but it's better news for the fact that majority of central New York was spared from a lot of this severe weather. So that's the silver lining in this setup yesterday. But downtown Utica right now, overcast skies, some peaks of sunshine, but also some spotty showers. And we can see it on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. But overall, we're not looking at anything in terms of severe weather today, just temperatures climbing from the low 70s to upper 70s, near 80 degrees. And we'll, of course, keep a close eye on what we can expect for Boilermaker Sunday. Of course, the weekend in general, we got a very busy weekend of events here in the Utica area. But on top of that, what we can expect more closely for today and for tomorrow straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And as you mentioned, a radar-confirmed tornado did touch down in Forestport right here in Oneida County. The cleanup began yesterday and, of course, will continue today. But viewers around the region actually captured the moments leading up to it. We do have some video from New Hartford taken by our own photojournalist Keith Hunt, taken as the storm was rolling in around 5:30, and that was about just 25 minutes before the tornado touched down in Forestport. Now, heavy rains, of course, coming with this system, as well as frequent lightning. And our team of meteorologists were on nonstop, as we mentioned, whenever there was a tornado warning in effect on Wednesday. And that was the case last night, as that warning was declared for Oneida County and Herkimer County. Bill and Jill were on the air and confirmed through high-velocity radar that a tornado did touch down in Forestport right around 6 o'clock. And that's when News Channel 2's Luke Radel headed north to check out the damage.
Here in Forestport, you can smell the burning in the air. A tornado moved through, knocking over trees into power lines, as you can see behind me, blocking roads and preventing people from getting home.
We're there. The bar exploded with everybody's alarms to let us know there was bad weather in the area.
Leanne Bartoletti was out to dinner with her husband at a local restaurant until
we got a text from my mother-in-law that lives across the road from us that said they had 10 trees down and was wondering if we were home. So we paid our bill and was on our way home and haven't been able to get there yet.
There's trees on this side, right to probably this house where the white car was. It was the whole thing was just rotating.
The assistant fire chief describing the moment he saw the tornado touch down. Did you guys ever see anything like that before?
Not right in front of us, not the switch from. I drove through after tornado, I mean, right close by, but to have that go from no wind, 0 rain, wasn't even sprinkling, to a minute and a half, it was all of a sudden instant downpour, trees breaking across the parking lot, and the whole sky rotating around the firehouse with it.
The fire department responded to several downed trees on Kincaid Road, including this one leaning on a power line. You can see smoke billowing out concerning those nearby. But that wasn't even the worst of the damage. Up a couple miles on Horton Road, more large trees needed an all-hands-on-deck cleanup, with chainsaws and all. But that's just the view from ground level. These are drone photos posted on Facebook by the Forestport Fire Department, taken by Bernard Boris of the Stiffville Fire Department. It shows the path the tornado took through the woods, even landing in some backyards and dragging up trees by their roots. Reporting tonight in Forestport, Luke Radel, News Channel 2.
Many parts of upstate New York were under tornado warnings throughout the day yesterday. Maybe the hardest hit area, the town of Eden, south of Buffalo in Erie County. Erie County officials issued a state of emergency as there is plenty of damage to homes, trees, and power lines. Now, there were 2 confirmed tornadoes right in that same area. Several barns have been totally destroyed. There are reports of animals that were injured or killed. Fortunately, there have been no human injuries that have been reported. Now, in addition to property damage, officials say thousands are without power in Erie County. The state was hit with the remnants of former Hurricane Beryl, which is forecast to continue moving northeast. Now, no people were hurt by the tornado that we saw locally up in Forestport, but we have learned that 4 cows were struck and killed by lightning at a farm along Route 26 near Cooper Street in Vernon. Again, this is all the effects of Beryl. The upper Texas coast took the brunt of Hurricane Beryl when it made landfall Monday morning as a Category 1 storm. It landed near Matagorda along the coast, but winds of 80+ miles per hour were felt as far inland as the city of Houston, where there is plenty of damage, so many rooftops blown off. And the closer you get to where the center of Beryl came ashore, the destruction increases, particularly right there in Surfside Beach. It could be weeks before some see their power restored. Well, brand new this morning, the SUNY Chancellor will visit our area.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good morning and welcome back. The time now is 6:12. We're getting you set as you head to the door this morning on your Munson Commute Cast. And to start, a look at our traffic camera network. First off, along the arterial, you can see, of course, conditions looking pretty dry as of this point. Just a few spotty showers still tracking on the radar right now. A live look at our traffic tracker in the Mohawk Valley. Things are looking pretty quiet, but a heads up for any of you heading up to the Lowellville area. Several road closures. There is major flooding taking place still at this point. You can see here road closed Route 12 and Route 26 heading into the Lowellville area. So a heads up for those of you going into the Lewis County region that there is still flooding taking place. For today, though, some patchy fog this morning giving way to clouds and a few spotty showers by this afternoon. Temperatures nowhere near as warm as yesterday, with highs in the upper 70s to near 80. The humidity sticks around, and of course weather still remains a little bit unsettled, but we got dry weather on the horizon. We'll of course talk about that in more detail straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. It'll be quite the day ahead up in Lowellville today after more than 5 inches of rain fell in just about 5 hours on Wednesday, basically flooding out large section of the village, including the football field behind Lowellville Academy. Again, massive flooding throughout the village. Lowellville is in a state of emergency. No unnecessary travel up there. The Walmart parking lot underwater, the Tops Plaza there as well. Homes all around the area are flooded. According to the Lowellville Police Department, a temporary shelter for any folks who may need it is set up at the Double Play Sports Center on Route 12. The time right now is 6:14, and what a gorgeous sunrise right there over the city of Utica. Eric will be in next with a look at his full storm temperature forecast.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. We are tracking much more in terms of quiet weather today after a very busy day yesterday. Over 40 tornado warnings all across New York State and reports of flooding and tornado damage. Well, let's take a first look at the rainfall totals in northern, at least near Lewis County, Lowellville area. Between 3 and 5 inches of rain fell over that location. Other reports of around 4 inches of rain fell in the Norwich area from a storm report as well. And some locations up in northern Vermont seeing the absolute brunt of the flooding issues. So thankfully, a lot of central New York was spared yesterday. But again, unfortunately, some locations saw a bit more. in terms of heavier rainfall. We got a great shot of the sunrise in Oneonta early this morning. I take a live look right there from the Hartwick College camera, and we're still seeing unsettled weather for today. A spotty shower or two, in fact, one heading into northern Herkimer County. But the weather today favoring mostly cloudy skies, patchy rain showers, as what's left of Beryl is still shifting east. We're not done with the remnants of this hurricane just yet, which is, again, now just a post-tropical depression as it continues to shift more and more eastward. But we're not looking at anything in terms of severe weather for today. Throughout the day, afternoon, and evening, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Humidity still sticking around. We're not quite out of the woods with high humidity just yet. But with active weather out of the way, we can start taking a closer look at Boilermaker Sunday. And we've got good news. Model consistency is there with dry weather for the morning, potentially a shower by the afternoon, but as long as it's dry and storm-free by the morning, that's our main priority. But heading to our skycast for the daytime hours today, a few clouds, spotty rain showers this afternoon, just overall a pretty unsettled day today, but thankfully, of course, no damaging winds, no tornadoes, no flooding concerns. And following today into tonight, mainly cloudy skies, a cloudy start to your Friday, but sunshine will arrive as we head into Friday evening. But for today, though, highs in the upper 70s, mostly cloudy, spotty showers tonight, a low of 65, still with mostly cloudy skies. Your 7-day forecast looking relatively dry as we head into Friday, eventually Saturday morning, potential stray showers Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon, but thankfully both mornings look dry, which is the main priority for Boilermaker weekend. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Well, when it comes to summer COVID...
Today, July 11th, 2024.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And talking about the calm after the storm, but I know when I was heading in this morning, it felt like Florida out there this morning. It was so muggy.
Yes, humidity has not gone down. Even with all those showers and storms yesterday, we're still in the remnants of Beryl. Although, again, the severe weather is over and done with. We're still going to be dealing with a few spotty showers today. Let's recap, though, what we saw yesterday, because we were looking at unprecedented warning situations across the region. So regarding tornado warnings, how about 10, 20, maybe 30? How about 42 issued tornado warnings in New York State entirely? We're talking about levels that we have not seen pretty much in New York State. For example, in New York State history, in the Buffalo region, they issued 18 warnings yesterday. That's the most they put out in an entire year on record. So this is just goes to show you just how active yesterday was. On top of that, major flooding in Lewis County, tornado damage in northern Oneida County. The Weather Service in Binghamton will be sending out a crew to assess the damage in northern Oneida County later today. That just came in from the Weather Service. So live look at downtown Utica right now. Mainly cloudy skies across the region. Some peaks of sunshine, but still a few spotty showers on the radar for this morning. And again, next 12 hours favored clouds, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. A bit cooler compared to yesterday. Humidity still in the air and still a chance for a spotty shower across the region. But thankfully, severe weather risk is diminished. We're going to talk about what we can expect for today, plus a preview of Boilermaker weekend straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast, never more than 10 minutes away. President Biden will look to strengthen relations with...
Welcome back, everyone. We are taking a look at our photo of the day today. And, of course, with all the active weather yesterday, someone sent a phenomenal photo of a shelf cloud in Holland Penn taken by Linda. And you can see here, of course, the strength of that system as it rolled through, the outline of that shelf cloud as the updrafts leading up to it were surging ahead and producing some downpours. So Again, this was unprecedented types of severe weather all across New York State yesterday. And thankfully, again, a lot of this was not widespread, only isolated in parts of central New York. So again, if you'd like to submit a photo like this one, send it to the link right there on top of your screen, WKTV.com/weather/pics. Well, today, a mild start. Temperatures already in the 70s, but it's not going to warm up too much, only into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. But we're tracking a few spotty showers and clouds, plus the potential for some dry weather in that forecast. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Gary?
It is muggy out this morning, though.
Very, very muggy, too.
That's for sure. Eric, thanks. Mother Nature's wrath yesterday.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. Well, it was quite an active day of weather yesterday with, in some locations in upstate New York, record-setting tornado warnings taking place with over 18 from National Weather Service in Buffalo, 42 officially total in upstate New York. Let's take a look at the rainfall totals across the region, and this is something that was a very close call for central New York. Unfortunately, though, major flooding taking place up in Lewis County near Lowville, where there were totals of 3 to as high as 5 inches of rain in that region. Higher totals of rainfall in Vermont, northern Vermont, and an isolated downpour with a storm report of 4 inches in Norwich. So these totals were localized but produced some pretty heavy rainfall. And across the area today, well, we got some sunshine peeking out in Oneonta right now, but more clouds will move in, as well as a chance for a few spotty showers. Taking a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar right now. Again, mainly dry, shower to the north, but the remnants of Beryl will continue to sweep east into our local area. But the good news is the forcing, or at least the severe weather forcing mechanisms at play yesterday are no longer in our area for today, which means we're not tracking any severe weather. Throughout the day today, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, but the main thing is the humidity will still remain pretty persistent throughout the entire morning, afternoon, and evening. We'll, of course, keep an eye on when the humidity does come to an end, because we're going to be taking a closer look with this weekend, now that things are quieting down, for Boilermaker Sunday. And still, models are pretty consistent with dry weather sticking around for the morning for both days, pretty much. But we could see a spotty shower in the afternoon. But heading to our skycast for today, a few spotty showers across the region, mostly cloudy skies, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Then by tonight, mainly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, cloudy starts with some sunshine peeking out by the evening, and this will set the stage for a quiet start Saturday with some sunshine, partly cloudy skies, and again, a chance of a spotty shower by the evening hours later on in the day. For today, though, highs in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, mostly cloudy, a few spotty showers tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 65. Your 7-day forecast, we're looking pretty quiet weather-wise for the next few days. No severe weather we're tracking, aside from a stray shower or two. We're looking dry for Saturday and for Sunday. Very important for the Boilermaker events. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And we do have a couple of huge July weekends coming up right here.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on the CW11. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And you were here pretty much the entire day yesterday. And I know I was on my couch grilled to the TV when Jill and Bill were tracking those storms coming in last night. And I know those severe storms, 5:30, 6 o'clock, it was a little hairy here.
Yes, very dicey. A lot of storms rolling through, several warnings coming in, unprecedented amount of warnings being issued here locally. And unfortunately, though, some damage reported, some flooding, but thankfully nothing widespread.
No one hurt.
Yes, that's the great news as well. But let's take a look at what we saw yesterday. Because when we talk about tornado warnings in New York State, Usually we might see 1, 2, maybe once in a blue moon, 5 or 6 tornado warnings issued. But in all of upstate New York, there were a total of 42 tornado warnings issued all throughout New York State, which is pretty far up there in terms of severe weather or tornado outbreak considerations with historical records. So, of course, be doing some research with that and see if that is probably the most warnings issued in a single day in New York State. On top of that, well, as you'll be seeing in a few moments, major flooding in Lewis County, tornado damage in northern Oneida County. But the great news is, as Gary mentioned, no one was hurt. So with that in mind, things are quieting down today. Downtown Utica, cloudy skies, a few spotty showers indicated on the Yorkville Battery live radar. And today, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s to near 80 with clouds, a few spotty showers. Will dry out gradually as we head into tomorrow, and for the start of the weekend, we'll of course have an early preview of Boilermaker Sunday and the Kids Race Saturday in that forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And a radar-confirmed tornado down in Forestport here in Oneida County. The cleanup there already underway, but viewers around the region captured the moments leading up to it. We do have some video from our own photojournalist Keith Hunt, who took this as the storm was rolling in around 5:30 last night. That was just about 25 minutes before the tornado touched down in Forestport. You can see those ominous clouds right there. Heavy rains coming with the system as well as frequent lightning. And as we mentioned, our team of meteorologists were on nonstop whenever there was a tornado warning in effect on Wednesday. And that was the case last night, as that warning was declared for Oneida County and Herkimer County. Bill and Jill were on the air and confirmed through high-velocity radar that a tornado did touch down in Forestport right around 6 o'clock. And that's when our own News Channel 2's Luke Radel on his way to the scene to survey the damage.
Here in Forestport, you can smell the burning in the air. A tornado moved through, knocking over trees into power lines, as you can see behind me, blocking roads and preventing people from getting home.
We're there. The bar exploded with everybody's alarms to let us know there was bad weather in the area.
Leanne Bartoletti was out to dinner with her husband at a local restaurant until
We got a text from my mother-in-law that lives across the road from us that said they had 10 trees down and was wondering if we were home. So we paid our bill and was on our way home and haven't been able to get there yet.
There's trees on this side, right to probably this house where the white car was. It was the whole thing was just rotating.
the assistant fire chief describing the moment he saw the tornado touch down. Did you guys ever see anything like that before?
Not right in front of us, not the switch from. I drove through after tornado, I mean, right close by, but to have that go from no wind, zero rain, wasn't even sprinkling, to a minute and a half, it was all of a sudden instant downpour, trees breaking across the parking lot, and the whole sky rotating around the firehouse with it.
The fire department responded to several downed trees on Kincaid Road, including this one leaning on a power line. You can see smoke billowing out concerning those nearby. But that wasn't even the worst of the damage. Up a couple miles on Horton Road, more large trees needed an all-hands-on-deck cleanup, with chainsaws and all. But that's just the view from ground level. These are drone photos posted on Facebook by the Forestport Fire Department, taken by Bernard Boris of the Stibville Fire Department. It shows the path the tornado took through the woods, even landing in some backyards and dragging up trees by their roots. Reporting tonight in Forestport, Luke Radel, News Channel 2.
Now, many parts of upstate New York were under tornado warnings throughout the day yesterday. Maybe the hardest hit area? The town of Eden, which is south of Buffalo in Erie County. Erie County officials have issued a state of emergency as there is plenty of damage to homes, trees, and power lines. There were 2 confirmed tornadoes right in that one area. Several barns completely destroyed, a number of animals lost. Fortunately, there have been no reports of human injuries or deaths. Now, in addition to property damage, officials say thousands are without power throughout Erie County. The state was hit with the remnants of former Hurricane Beryl, which is forecast to continue moving northeast. And while no people were hurt by the tornado we saw locally in Forestport, we have learned that 4 cows were struck and killed by lightning at a farm on Route 26 near Cooper Street in Vernon. Again, this is all the effects of Beryl. The upper Texas coast took the brunt of Hurricane Beryl when it made landfall Monday morning as a Category 1 storm. It landed near Matagorda along the coast, but winds of 80+ miles per hour were felt as far inland as the city of Houston. Much of the damage has been to rooftops, but the closer you get to where the center of Beryl came ashore, the destruction increases, particularly in that area right there of Surfside Beach. It could be weeks before some see power restored. Other news now, the SUNY Chancellor will visit our area later today. Chancellor John.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. Weather today looking much more quiet compared to yesterday. In fact, before we get to the weather for today, I want to recap the amount of rainfall some locations saw yesterday. And in some spots north and west of Utica, especially up near Lowville, Lewis County, 3, potentially 4 or 5 inches of rain fell over only a short span. That extends all the way out to Vermont, where flooding was even worse. Local storm report of 4 or so inches down in Norwich. And so some spots, 2.5 inches, some locations less than half an inch of rainfall. So again, this was incredibly localized. Thankfully, nothing extremely widespread, and thankfully, of course, there were no confirmations of injuries or fatalities. But down to at least a live look in Oneonta right now, we've got clouds returning after a great shot of the sunrise early this morning. And a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Quiet conditions all across the region. A few isolated pop-up showers moving to the north. But today will remain still a little bit unsettled as what's left of Beryl will continue to shift eastward, and we could see a few more spotty showers fire up. Temperatures today, cooler than yesterday. Highs in the upper 70s to near 80. Factoring in the humidity, again, we're talking about still higher humidity levels across the region for the rest of this morning and afternoon. An early preview of the Boilermaker, we still have some good news regarding dry weather for the morning. This is a trend that's been sticking around for the past several days, and a potential shower in the at least early afternoon to mid-afternoon. But for now, of course, the focus is on the race itself, and the weather looks to cooperate. On our Skycast today, looking at mainly cloudy skies, temperatures in the 70s, a spotty shower moving through. Then by tonight, mostly cloudy, temperatures falling into the mid-60s. A warmer day tomorrow with clouds giving way to sunshine, temperatures in the 80s. And then partly cloudy skies expected for your Saturday with quiet conditions. Those of you heading to the kids' run, weather looks to cooperate. Potential spotty shower later on in the day from a trailing cold front. But again, today, temperatures in the upper 70s to near 80, mostly cloudy. A spotty shower or two tonight, low 65, mostly cloudy skies. 7-day forecast, weather looking pretty quiet heading into tomorrow. Start of Saturday, again, spotty shower heading into Saturday evening, and then Sunday starting out dry before weather turns more unsettled heading into the work week next week.
News with Gary Liberatore.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And boy, did we get hit yesterday. Right now, though, a picture from just in our crew up there in Forestport, the National Weather Service on site right now.
Yes, and their job right now is to assess the damage to, one, indicate a confirmed tornado. We had a radar indicated tornado, but what they'll do is they'll assess the damage, see if the winds cause the trees to split in a V formation, and on top of that, the amount of damage, and that alone will indicate the wind speeds and eventually the rating of the tornado.
And boy, were there a lot of warnings yesterday.
Yes, quite a lot. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at how many warnings were across New York State. How about 42 warnings? This is actually a record. This is the most in New York State history. This beats the previous record of 41 set back in 1998. Those of you who remember the Memorial Day outbreak in 1998, this passed it by one warning. You can see all these red polygons right here. These are all individual tornado warnings across the state. Needless to say, it was very busy yesterday. But for now, a live look at downtown Utica. We're seeing a few clouds, some peaks of sunshine, some spotty drizzle. As you take a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, still a little unsettled. The remnants of Beryl are still shifting east, but the driving factor for severe storms yesterday, the heat, humidity, and the wind shear in the atmosphere are all passing to the east, and now we're just seeing the lingering effects of the system. So for now, the next 12 hours, we're talking about calmer weather, a little cooler with temperatures in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, a chance of a stray shower, drying out tonight. And we have a look at what you can expect weather-wise for tomorrow and a preview of Boilermaker weekend straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The National Weather Service has been out west already this morning and has already confirmed that at least 2 confirmed tornadoes touched down in western New York on Wednesday. In Chautauqua County, a twister uprooted trees and damaged homes in the area. That tornado was classified as an EF1 with an estimated peak wind of 110 miles per hour. Residents in the area spent the afternoon and evening cleaning up and surveying the damage. So far, no injuries or deaths have been reported. And now the team from the National Weather Service, as we mentioned, is up in Forestport trying to determine if they will declare a tornado touchdown there last night. Our team of meteorologists were on non-stop on the air whenever there was a tornado warning in effect on Wednesday, so they spent a lot of time on the air. And that was the case last night as a warning was declared for Oneida County and Herkimer County right around 5:30. Now, Bill and Jill were on the air and confirmed through high-velocity radar that a tornado did touch down in Forestport around 6 o'clock. The fire department responded to several downed trees on Kincaid Road. Up a couple of miles on Horton Road, more large trees needed all hands on deck. And the assistant fire chief described the moment that he saw the tornado touch down.
There's trees on this side, right to probably this house where the white car was. It was the whole thing was just rotating. An instant downpour, trees breaking across the parking lot, and the whole sky rotating around the firehouse.
Boy, a scary situation there. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Again, a crew from the National Weather Service from Binghamton is in Forestport right now assessing the damage. We'll have the latest on their visit tonight on the Live at 5 News Hour. Meanwhile, quite the day of cleanup up in Lowville today after more than 5 inches of rain fell in about 5 hours on Wednesday, basically flooding out large sections of the village, including the football field behind Lowville Academy. Again, a massive flooding went on there in the village throughout the day, and the cleanup continues. Lowville is in a state of emergency, no unnecessary travel. And according to the Lowville Police Department, a temporary shelter has been set up for those who need one at Double Play Sports Center on Route 12. Meanwhile, village officials in Whitesboro prepared all day on Wednesday for the worst, and thankfully for the waterlogged residents over the years there just off of Main Street, they were spared in this storm this time around. On their Facebook page, village officials thanked all of the agencies that came together yesterday to prepare, including Homeland Security. And while we are still dealing with some heat here in the Mohawk Valley today, over 100 million Americans from coast to coast. We are still dealing with some heat here in the Mohawk Valley today. Over 100 million Americans from coast to coast are also having another day of oppressive heat, including many in Texas who don't have an air conditioning after Hurricane Beryl roared through, knocking out power. Nationwide, the unbearable temperatures are also now being blamed on at least 33 heat-related deaths. NBC's Aaron McLaughlin is in the nation's capital this noon, showing us another example of the effects of the heat wave.
Hey there, it's been absolutely sweltering here in Washington, D.C. I want you to check something out because this is the talk of this neighborhood. This is what remains of a waxwork replica of the Lincoln Memorial. It was installed outside this elementary school back in February. Now a melted mess. The artist tells us they always knew it could potentially melt. I mean, it is made of wax, just not this quickly. A stark illustration of just how hot it has been in the capital. And also to put things into consideration with this heat wave, I was speaking to the head of that summit, the NATO Security Summit. He's in charge of security here in the capital for dozens of world leaders. And in his mind, the greatest threat to that summit at this point is the heat, is these extreme temperatures, because these extreme temperatures can be deadly, contributing to more than 36 deaths across at least 6 states. We're also seeing some record temps continuing out west, with Las Vegas hitting at least 118 degrees on back-to-back days. Spare a thought for the folks in Houston. More than 1 million still without power after Hurricane Beryl caused damage. Remnants of that deadly storm also causing havoc in the Northeast, including 2 destructive tornadoes overnight in upstate New York. And speaking to doctors, they say that if you are suffering any symptoms of heat exhaustion, including muscle aches, headaches, the key here is to act quickly. Cool off as fast as you can. Stay inside and stay hydrated. Back to you.
NBC's Erin McLaughlin reporting from the nation's capital. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon and welcome back. More than welcome calm weather for here in the weather department. I'm pretty sure for a lot of you as well that we're not tracking any weather warnings, no tornado watches at this point. In fact, a live look at our Cavie Tower camera, a few clouds passing by, a few spotty light rain showers, but that's really about it. On the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, just a few, as you can see here, these light patches of green indicating light rain from what's left of Hurricane Beryl as it weakens even more and gradually shifts out to the east. Throughout the rest of this afternoon, temperatures a lot cooler than yesterday, only into the upper 70s. So right below average for this time of year. But one thing to mention too is it's still going to be humid out today. And we'll talk about, of course, the forecast for humidity in just a second. But with all that humidity in the air yesterday, it set the stage for slow-moving storms to produce heavy rainfall, sustained rainfall. And that was the case up in Lowville, where catastrophic flooding took place with reports of 3 to potentially 5 inches of rain in the span of a few hours, and even worse reports up in Vermont. So we're considering it a huge blessing that this was not nearly as widespread as earlier anticipated was what we're going to expect. But you can see here, even some spots seeing 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches in Camden. So some locations did see a little bit more. Humidity will still be on the high side for the next several days, lingering into Boilermaker weekend. But the good news is that even though it might be humid, the morning will actually be relatively dry. Several days straight of model consensus that we're seeing dry weather to start the race. I have good confidence myself that I think it will start out dry, potentially a stray shower in the afternoon. But of course, for Saturday and Sunday, for both the Kids Run and the Boilermaker event itself, weather looks to cooperate. And so in our Skycast this afternoon, some remnant rain showers here and there. Again, nothing major regarding anything severe-wise. Then a few clouds tomorrow morning, giving way to some sunshine by Friday afternoon. And this dry weather will stick around for most of the day Saturday, with potential for a stray shower Saturday evening as a weak cold front moves through. But your 7-day forecast, we're looking a lot more quiet for the next few days. Again, Boilermaker weekend mainly dry, although warm and humid. And then following the weekend, we'll see showers and storms return as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Bring it back.
Good afternoon once again, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Lubitor.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And we have some dramatic video above the storm damage in Forestport. showing quite the path of what appears to be a tornado. But as we mentioned earlier, the folks from the National Weather Service out there at this hour trying to determine officially whether it was a tornado, but you think, according to the radar, it was.
Yeah, there's several stages. There is radar indicated tornadoes, radar confirmed tornadoes, and then the actual visual confirmed tornadoes. But what they're doing is they're assessing the damage. The trees support EF0 to EF5 damage, and that's their job right now.
And we'll find out later today.
Yes, we'll have more on that coming up tonight at 5 and 6. But before we get to the weather today, I wanted to show a picture that was taken by our own Kristen Copeland behind the scenes of the entire team, including Jason, Jill, and Bill in the background there. There's so much that goes into tornado coverage that you don't quite see on TV. It's a very high stress environment, especially when it comes to the amount of warnings we saw yesterday. So for now, of course, I want to extend a big thank you to Jill, who was able to help me in the afternoon yesterday, and Bill, who was able to go out and assess some storm, at least go out and track some storms, and then come back and assist Jill in the evening as they radar confirmed a tornado yesterday. So again, a big thank you to the team here at WKTV for all the help yesterday. Now, the radar, again, a lot more quiet today. A few spotty light rain showers here and there. In the next 12 hours, favor non-severe weather. Just a few clouds, spotty rain, and temperatures in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Following that, we're tracking a drier stretch of weather heading into Friday and the weekend. Details on that straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The Israeli military has urged all Palestinians to leave Gaza City.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon and welcome back. We have a report coming in within the span of the past few minutes. Matter of fact, at 12:36, that the Forestport tornado has been rated officially an EF0. So yes, confirmed tornado damage and confirmed EF0 tornado that took place around 6 p.m. outside of Forestport in Oneida County. This is the preliminary information released by the Weather Service of Binghamton. They're going to have a full report regarding the damage assessment coming up later today. We'll, of course, have that if it becomes available on the Live at 5 News Hour and News Channel 2 at 6. A live look at our Cavity Tower camera. You can see, of course, much more in terms of quiet weather today. Still some stubborn clouds, but we're not tracking anything in terms of severe weather across the region for this afternoon. A few spotty rain showers here and there, indicated by the light green on the radar scans currently as of now. And zooming out, what's left of the weakened Beryl, tropical storm Beryl, now post-tropical depression Beryl, is now exiting to the east. Heading throughout the afternoon and evening, we're talking about temperatures remaining in the upper 70s to near low 80s, and then we're cooling down into the low 70s, upper 60s, heading into tomorrow morning. The one thing, though, is the dew points still remaining pretty high. We got high humidity today, and that might stick around for the next few days. But with that high humidity in the air yesterday, along with that heat, along with that wind shear, were prime ingredients not only for severe storms, but also for flooding, and unfortunately catastrophic flooding up near the Lowville area in Lewis County. Between 3 to 5 inches of rain falling in a short span over an isolated area. Some spots here locally, you could see 2 inches or more, 1.5 inches or more. And some spots luckily missed out on a lot of it, with Herkimer picking up only just over a half an inch of rainfall. But the humidity again sticks around for today, the rest of today, into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But the good news is we're looking at a mainly dry start to the day for Boilermaker Sunday. 2 models here indicating mainly dry weather, although the latest update with the GFS has a few more clouds rolling in. We'll see how this shapes up as the days move along. But several models, or at least several runs of these models over the past few days, have indicated a dry start to Sunday, as well as a dry start to Saturday for those that are attending the kids run. Now in our Skycast this afternoon, we're seeing a few Spotty showers with cloudy skies. Tonight, lows in the mid to upper 60s. Tomorrow, morning clouds followed by evening sunshine. It'll be a very pleasant end to the work week. And that sun will stick around by Saturday. Partly cloudy skies, temperatures climbing into the 80s. And then following the afternoon, we could see a stray shower from a weakened cold front move through heading into Saturday evening and Saturday night. And so your 7-day forecast, we got pretty quiet weather for the next few days. We got no severe storms we're tracking. Our next chance of seeing any sort of severe, or in fact not severe, but more so scattered thunderstorms look to be by next week, heading into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So again, the Forestport tornado rated EF0. They'll have a new report coming out with a lot more detail later on this afternoon.
And you guys called it last night as well.
Yes, a radar confirmed tornado. We want to make sure that if we see it, we're going to say it.
Yeah, that debris field is pretty telling on that radar.
Yes, and thankfully it really helps. It gives an early prediction for folks that are in the path. And our primary concern, obviously, is letting people know ahead of time that a tornado is possibly on the ground.
Eric, thanks. Well, many parts of upstate New York were under tornado yesterday. Maybe the hardest hit area, the town of Eden, south of Buffalo in Erie County. Erie County officials issued a state of emergency as there is plenty of damage to homes, trees, and power lines. There were 2 confirmed tornadoes in this area. Several barns totally destroyed, animals killed. Fortunately, there have been no reports of human injuries or deaths. Now, in addition to property damage, officials say thousands are without power in Erie County. The state was hit with the remnants of Hurricane Beryl, which is forecast to continue moving northeast, and it is well past Vermont at this time. And stay with us. More news is up next.
With Kristen Copeland and Jason Powers.
This time yesterday, we were tracking a tornado on the ground in Forestport, really right at this moment.
Absolutely. And tonight, we now know it was an EF0 tornado. In case you haven't seen this yet, I want you to take a minute and look at this. This is the aerial shots taken by the Stittsville Fire Department. You can see the path of the tornado goes right across the road, flattening those trees, and look how it just misses this house, probably by feet. Amazing, amazing that nobody was hurt during this. Now today, the National Weather Service out of Binghamton was on site investigating in Forestport. Their team determines if the damage on the ground can be attributed to a tornado. And then they look at the pictures and drone video from above. This helps them to decide the path, the length, the width, and once that's decided, they determine it was indeed a tornado, which they have done. Now that information goes a long way to provide service to the public.
Provides community a sense of awareness as to what actually occurred. Allows us as well to gather data for climate and other purposes so that we have a record of what actually occurred here today. And generally, a lot of people are very curious and want to know what exactly happened in their backyard.
Now, as we mentioned, the National Weather Service determined it was an EF0 tornado. It was only on the ground for 2 minutes, and it traveled 0.6 miles. We want to get right over to Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis with the latest numbers from the National Weather Service.
Yeah, this is a storm survey that was just unleashed about a half hour ago. This is the location, the track of the tornado. Again, the big story here is that how quickly this was. Only on the ground for 2 minutes, 80-mile-an-hour winds. Half a mile on the ground. And, you know, I wanted to just talk about how quickly information travels and some of the new information that we use. The Doppler radar had a major improvement a few years ago with dual pol, and it's allowed us to be able to call these in real time like we did yesterday. So it is good to get the information on the ground and get an idea of what happened, because even though we knew that one took place, we didn't know the speed, the distance, or the time that it was on the ground. And this information is very, very helpful to us to get a sense of what took place yesterday. So again, we thank our partners from the National Weather Service for coming into town. Scattered showers continue today. The weather will slowly improve. Our temperature 76, but it's still very humid. The humidity is not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, it is going to get a lot warmer here as we get into Boilermaker weekend. We'll get a chance to dry out, though, heading into tonight and tomorrow. A few lingering showers this evening, temperatures in the 70s. We got to look at that weekend forecast coming up. Back over to you.
Bill, thank you. 6 teenagers are facing charges, one in connection to a shots fired case and stolen.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Getting a nice break from the heat today. Temperatures in the 70s. Before we look ahead, I just want to look back at a historic day yesterday. In western New York and central New York, 42 tornado warnings were issued for the state. Again, most of them just to our west. We've had several in our area yesterday. This beats the previous record of 41 set on May 31st, 1998, which up until today was leaps and bounds greater than any other day previous. We're still waiting on the number of confirmed tornadoes. I believe the number's up to 7 for the state, and that number is going to continue to grow because it does take time for the folks at the National Weather Service to get out and survey damage. And again, we're going to be patient, and we'll continue to pass along the number as they continue to do their hard work. Looking ahead, Boilermaker weekend, it's looking very warm and humid. For race day, temperatures will be in the upper 60s to low to mid 70s from the beginning of the race to about 10 to 11 o'clock. The headline here is the humidity, the heat, the sunshine. It does look dry for the race, but by the afternoon, temperatures climb into the upper 80s. It's a very humid weekend ahead. On Saturday, there is the chance of a pop-up thunderstorm. Temperatures in the upper 80s. Live look at downtown Utica. Cloudy, occasional showers, a temperature of 73. These showers are moving to the east this evening, so we will get a chance to dry out tonight. But if you are heading out again, you may need to grab the umbrella. Again, some scattered showers from our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The humidity, it's down a little bit, but it's still very humid out there, and that humidity is going to stick around as we head into the weekend. Whitesboro, 75 degrees. Forestport, 70. Old Forge, 68. Westford, 74. And Worcester checking in with 74 degrees. Scattered showers continue to move to the east. High pressure will arrive from the west, and so skies will eventually clear out. It will be cloudy tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the mid-60s. Tomorrow, clouds give way to sunshine. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. It looks dry heading into Friday night. And then on Saturday, sunshine. Again, that chance of a pop-up storm. High temperatures climb into the mid to upper 80s. Mostly cloudy tonight. 65 for the overnight low. It's warm and humid tomorrow. Decreasing clouds. Highs in the low 80s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Hot and humid over the weekend. Temperatures in the upper 80s. A greater chance for showers and thunderstorms on Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures in the mid-80s. Some cooler weather ahead. Highs in the 70s on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be right back.
An EF0 tornado caused damage in Forestport over nearly a half-mile distance. Now, in case you haven't seen this yet, I'd want to show you some of the aerial shots that were taken by the Stittsville Fire Department. This is in the area of Horton Road. You can see the path of the tornado crossing the road, flattening trees, just missing that house right there. Wow. And amazingly, in all of this, nobody was hurt. And some of the reasons why people were not hurt in this, and I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis, is because we had some warning.
Yes, I'm very happy to hear that. Best news of all.
Yeah, and we had the warning because our technology has changed in the last couple of years. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, I want to talk about the idea behind radar-confirmed tornadoes. So many of you, we have seen images like this before. This is part of our live coverage yesterday, this rotating storm that we picked up on.
Yeah.
Reds, greens, broad scale rotation, but we can't really tell if one's on the ground based on these images alone. However, what we saw yesterday, this was at 6:02.
Yep.
So 2 minutes after this, well, 3 minutes after this touchdown, we see this. A debris signature. Within 3 minutes, we were able to confirm that this was on the ground, and this is life-saving technology, and it's a game changer. It changes the whole parameters about how we do our job, and for those of you that were watching our coverage yesterday, you saw how that played out. Being able to provide this information in real time is so critical, and not waiting to have to get the information, not waiting to have to get the damage, and the eyewitness accounts as to whether one was on the ground. To be able to do this in real time, we can tell people if one was on the ground, and we can take these warnings pretty seriously. Now, moving forward, we're tracking some pretty quiet weather. Just a few sprinkles out there. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Showers will be coming to an end as we head into tonight. The weather is going to clear out, and the stage is set for a very warm and humid weekend. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s as we look ahead. So I hope you had a chance to enjoy a cooler day today, because that's not how things are going to be as we head into the weekend and beyond. We've got to look at more rain chances and also the Boilermaker, how the forecast is trending for that, and that's coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. 6 teenagers are facing charges, one in connection to a shot.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Before we look ahead, I wanted to take a moment to look back and just look at the historical impacts of yesterday. This is going to go in the record books, the history of New York State with tornado coverage. This ended up producing 42 tornado warnings by the National Weather Service. They issued that for New York State. This beats the record of 41 tornado warnings issued on May 31st, 1998. Now, this is just tornado warnings. How many have actually hit the ground? We're still coming up with numbers here, but I want to show you the preliminary assessments as of this evening. There are 7 tornado touchdowns that have been confirmed by the National Weather Service, including the one in our local area in Forestport. This was in Redfield. That was the next closest one. And then we go out to the west. Western New York had several. Now, again, the numbers are not all in. There's still surveys that are going to be done by the National Weather Service. The record on May 31st, 1998 was 10, and again, we're up to 7 now. We'll see how this goes. We'll continue to keep you updated as the crews of the National Weather Service, who have been working extremely hard over the past 24 hours, will continue to gather more data and do more surveys in New York State. Let's look ahead to Boilermaker. It's looking warm and humid for race day. We're expecting dry conditions, temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s. It looks like a very humid race this year. Of course, it seems to be very common. We've talked about that a lot here this time of the year. If you're heading out to the expo tomorrow, partly sunny and humid, temperatures in the upper 70s. Over the weekend, we've got a chance of a thunderstorm on Saturday. That's mainly in the afternoon, 87 for the high. We talked about race time temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s on Sunday. The afternoon high, 88. Live look at downtown Utica, 69 degrees. Again, a couple of scattered showers continue in our area. The dew point still pretty high. We've got humidity that we're going to continue to track here as we head into the next couple of days. High pressure builds in from the west, and we expect clouds to clear out for tomorrow. We start out with mostly cloudy skies, but again, we should get a few breaks in the overcast. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. Clearing out tomorrow night. Weather looks nice on Saturday. Again, small chance of a pop-up shower storm. Temperatures in the mid 80s. Mostly cloudy tonight, 65 for the low. Tomorrow, looking at clouds giving way to sunshine, 82. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. A hot weekend ahead. Temperatures in the upper 80s both Saturday and Sunday. Showers, thunderstorms in abundance on Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures cool down to the 70s on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be right back.
Confirmed an EF0 tornado caused damage in Forestport over nearly a half-mile in distance. In case you haven't seen this yet, I just want to show you some of the aerial shots that were taken by the Stittsville Fire Department. This is in the area of Horton Road. You can see the path of tornado goes right across a road, flattening trees, just missing a house in the woods here. Absolutely amazing that nobody was hurt. But because of the updated technology that we possess here, people were warned and we knew it was coming.
Yeah, we've had a game changer in the recent couple of years with dual pole radar. So going back in time, some radar images to show you. This was what we were suspicious about yesterday with this rotation. This was before it moved into Forestport. But the most important images were the debris signature. When we get this information, the only way that you can see something like that happening is if there are things that are being lofted up into the air. And so when we see this, we consider it a confirmed tornado. And it gives us the ability to be able to tell people, we know it's on the ground, we don't have to wait for the reports to come in. It's a game changer.
And now that it's all confirmed, what are some of the numbers that the National Weather Service has released?
Yeah, so this ends up being an EF0 with still 80-mile-an-hour winds. I know it's on the low end of a tornado, but that's still hurricane-force winds. It was only on the ground for 2 minutes. So a lot of these tornadoes that we've seen, they're quick.
Yeah.
And this is why we have to pay attention. And we take all these warnings very seriously, because even when we do get that confirmed debris ball, that means it's already on the ground. As I go forward, things are looking quieter. A couple of sprinkles out there this evening. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It's going to be warm. Going forward, the humidity is back. The heat really ramps up as we head into Boilermaker weekend. Temperatures will be in the 80s, the mid to upper 80s. Tonight, good night to leave the windows open. We do cool off. Temperatures will be in the mid 60s. Maybe turn on the air conditioner if you don't like the humidity. We're tracking, again, the weekend forecast, and that's coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. 6 teenagers are facing charges.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Before we get into the weekend and look ahead, I wanted to take a moment to look back. Yesterday ended up being a historic day in New York State. Multiple tornado touchdowns, 42 tornado warnings issued by the National Weather Service yesterday. This beats the record of 41 on May 31st, 1998. Our record tornado warnings, well, the list is short, and up until 1998, to be number 2 on the list was only in the 20s. So it's extremely uncommon to see things like this. And again, the confirmed tornadoes, this is as of this evening. It is going to take more time to assess the storm damage. We've got 7 confirmed tornadoes, including the one that touched down in our area. The other one that was nearby was in Redfield, and then there were several out in western New York. Again, more damage is being assessed by the hardworking folks at the National Weather Service, and these numbers may go up as they continue to survey other suspicious damage areas. Boilermaker preview. It's looking hot. Very warm day on Sunday. Temperatures for the race look to be in the upper 60s to mid 70s. But again, it is going to be a very humid Sunday here in central New York. If you're heading out to the expo tomorrow, 75 to 80, partly sunny, and the weather starts to turn humid tomorrow, but again, it really ramps up over the weekend. Sunday's high temperature 88, hot and humid. There is a chance of a thunderstorm on Saturday. Temperatures climb into the upper 80s. Downtown Utica this evening, a temperature of 68. It was a cooler day, cloudy skies, but the humidity just kind of lingered around. A couple of sprinkles continue across central New York, but the weather will dry out tonight. The humidity is going to stick around, dew points in the 60s. Those numbers will be increasing throughout the weekend. High pressure builds in from the west that will clear skies out, but it's going to be a process. We're cloudy tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the mid 60s. Tomorrow, clouds give way to sunshine. Beautiful day. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. Clear skies tomorrow night. The weather looks nice on Saturday. Small chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Temperatures climb into the mid to upper 80s. Mostly cloudy tonight, 65 for the low, so pretty warm night. Tomorrow, decreasing clouds, 82. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. A hot, humid weekend, temperatures in the upper 80s Saturday, Sunday. The storm threat starts to ramp up early next week, especially Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures in the mid 80s, cooler weather with highs in the 70s on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be right back.